The Left 4 Dead games are known as some of the best zombie games of all time. The fast-paced action, balanced gameplay, and co-op create an experience that is infinitely replayable and is still being heavily played to this day. There's just one problem. There's only two of them. Valve, the studio behind Left 4 Dead, have a legacy of never making a third sequel to any of their games. For this reason, I decided to pick up the Infinity Gauntlet and say, fine, I'll do it myself. One of the largest contributing factors to Left 4 Dead's continual success is the large modding community that surrounds the games. I was able to take hundreds of those very mods and craft an experience that I would deem to be Left 4 Dead 3 inside of Left 4 Dead 2. Obviously, the process is very limiting, considering the fact that we're modding a game and not making a new one. However, there are a lot of mods out there that, when put together, actually somewhat modernize both the look and the feel of Left 4 Dead 2, which can help us envision what a Left 4 Dead 3 would look like. Now, first things first, before I dove into this whole process, I pitched an overall concept for Left 4 Dead 3 in my head. Instead of this game taking place at the same time as 1 and 2 with a new cast of characters, I thought of something different. What if the game took place a year or so after the infection, and followed the casts of Left 4 Dead 1 and 2 bound together, trying to start a new age for humanity? This made sense to me, considering the fact that we can't add any new characters into the game, but I also felt like if Left 4 Dead 3 was a real game, this would be a very satisfying conclusion to the trilogy. Now that I think about it, this concept actually sounds a lot like Back 4 Blood. Anyway, this concept gave me a starting point, and from there I began modding. First thing I did was mod in a lot of new UI elements to make the game have a fresh look. I downloaded the Yurk game menu with these new menu icons, as well as the Left 4 Dead 3 logo and the startup videos. For the HUD, I downloaded the Infection HUD, which brings a new and kind of more modern layout to the Left 4 Dead HUD. Now that I was done with the UI, I had to tweak the visuals. I downloaded a lot of mods that upped the resolution of the various vanilla textures in the game. I also downloaded cinematic lighting effects to give the game a bit more of a cool flair to it. To go along with the overall concept I was going for, I downloaded the Aftermath character models. This gives a more battle-hardened and prepared look to all of the vanilla survivors. This worked very well. Now I was on to the weapons. I was originally just gonna keep the vanilla models and sounds with new animations, however I found that some of the mods felt very inconsistent with one another, because of the fact that a lot of these reanimation mods were made by different mod authors. So instead, I opted to port the Warzone weapons. The animations are way less stiff than the vanilla Left 4 Dead 2 animations, and the weapon models also looked a lot better. On top of that, because all of these models and animations came from the same game, they were all very consistent with one another. I made sure to only download weapons that heavily resembled the vanilla Left 4 Dead 2 weapons, as well as smoother animations for the items. When it comes to the infected, I downloaded a bunch of mods that expanded the variety in them. In the vanilla game, every single special infected has only 1 or 2 different model types. It's pretty underwhelming. Every single special infected looks identical, which isn't very immersive when you consider the fact that this is a zombie apocalypse. Not every human looks the same. These variety packs give a lot more of a refreshing feel to the special infected. You're not fighting the same thing over and over again. Every time you see a special infected, it's a different look. Another thing that I modded in to give the game a fresh feel is a new soundtrack, specifically the Back 4 Blood soundtrack. Say what you want about that game, the best part of it was its music. It was amazing and it really bode well for the kind of vibe I was going for. However, I did replace some tracks of the Back 4 Blood soundtrack with metal remixes of Left 4 Dead 2 soundtrack, just to make the game feel more like Left 4 Dead than Back 4 Blood. Finally, we're on to new gameplay features. Now, I can't list and name every single mod I used here because there is just way too many of them. Just know that there is a lot. Some of these mods include a contextual ping system, randomly placed objects within the maps, crawling while incapacitated, and so much more. These mods added a lot more depth into the game, at least on a base level. I also added some new voice lines for the survivors, but those are very minuscule. It's a very minor update. And with that, I had it. Left 4 Dead 3 in my hands. Kinda. I gotta admit, this whole process was pretty worth it. I haven't had this much fun with Left 4 Dead 2 in years. It really just feels so fresh to me. But anyway, that about covers my experience with Left 4 Dead 3. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope you all try to do something like this yourself. I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.